In 65 AD, a messenger arrived at Seneca's door. He carried a single instruction from Emperor Nero: die tonight. No trial, no appeal, no negotiation, just an order from the most powerful man in the world to the man who had taught him everything he knew. Most people assume Seneca begged, or tried to escape, or at least showed some kind of fear. He did none of those things. What he actually did that night has been studied by historians, philosophers, and psychologists for 2,000 years, and almost nobody gets it right. Because what Seneca did was not brave. It was not noble in the way movies show nobility. It was something much harder to understand, and once you understand it, the way you think about your own worst moments will never be the same. Before we get to that night, you need to know something about Seneca that most people skip. He was not a saint. Seneca was one of the wealthiest men in Rome. He owned multiple villas. He lent money at high interest across the empire. He wrote beautifully about the dangers of excess while living in extraordinary luxury. His critics called him a hypocrite, and honestly, they had a point. He knew it too. He wrote about it openly. He said he was not a wise man and made no claim to be. He was a man trying to move in the right direction while fully aware of how far he still had to go. That honesty is what makes him worth studying. Not because he was perfect, because he was not. And he kept going anyway. Now add this to that picture. For years, Seneca had been the closest advisor to Nero. He helped run the Roman Empire from behind the throne. He managed budgets. He softened Nero's worst impulses. He bought time. And then Nero became something nobody could manage anymore. The executions started. His own mother, his wife, anyone who threatened him. Seneca tried to step back quietly. He returned gifts. He withdrew from public life. He asked to be left alone. Nero let him go. For a while. Then came the Pisonian conspiracy, a plot to assassinate Nero. Seneca was not part of it, but Nero decided he was close enough. And that was enough. So when that messenger arrived at the door, Seneca already knew this day was coming. He had been preparing for it for years, not hiding from it, preparing for it. And what that preparation looked like is what nobody talks about. Here is what most people misunderstand about Stoicism. They think it is about not feeling things, suppressing emotion, going cold, becoming a machine. Seneca spent his entire life writing the opposite. He said the goal was never to feel nothing. The goal was to never be owned by what you feel. There is a massive difference. For decades, Seneca had been doing one specific practice that the Stoics called the premeditation of adversity. Every day in private, he would sit with the worst possible outcomes, not to torture himself, not to become pessimistic, but to drain those outcomes of their power, to shock him. He wrote about it in his letters. He said to rehearse poverty, rehearse exile, rehearse death, not because those things are good, but because a man who has already faced something in his mind is not destroyed by it when it arrives at his door. So when the messenger came that night, Seneca had already been there 1,000 times. The fear was not gone, but it had no grip left. And that changed everything about what happened next. Because what he did in those final hours was not resignation. It was something the people in that room had never seen before. And it shook them. By Seneca asked for his writing materials, the guards refused. He turned to the people around him, his friends, his wife Paulina, and he did something completely unexpected. He talked to them. Not about death, not about Nero, not about injustice. He talked about philosophy, about how to live, about what mattered, about what did not. His friends were weeping. Seneca told them to stop, not harshly, not with contempt for their grief. He simply asked them where their years of studying wisdom had gone. He said the philosophers had long ago settled the question of how to face this moment. It was not a question anymore. It was a practice, and this was the moment the practice was supposed to show up. Then he opened his veins. The blood came slowly. His body was old, and the process was long. He remained calm throughout. He dictated thoughts to a scribe for as long as he could speak. His wife Paulina tried to die with him. Nero, hearing this, sent word to save her. He did not want to be remembered as the man who killed Seneca's wife. Even Nero understood what was happening in that room had a weight to it. Seneca died several hours later, not screaming, not bargaining, not cursing Nero's name, exactly the way he had written that a man should die, like it was the next thing on the list. Now, here is the part that should stop you cold. He had written those words decades before that night. He had no idea when it would happen. He just knew that it would, and he spent his life getting ready, which means he did not die well because he was special. He died well because he had practiced dying well, every single day. Nero thought the order killed Seneca. He was wrong. Seneca had already made peace with death long before the messenger arrived. What Nero actually did was give Seneca the one thing a Stoic spends his life preparing for: the final exam. And Seneca passed it. Nero lived for 3 more years after that night. He became increasingly paranoid, increasingly isolated. He executed more people. He trusted no one. In 68 AD, abandoned by everyone, facing his own execution by the Senate, Nero could not do what Seneca had done. He panicked. He wept. He reportedly needed someone else to help him die because he could not bring himself to do it alone. The man who had signed the death warrant could not face his own. The man who had received it had been ready for years. That contrast is not a coincidence. It is the entire point. Power without philosophy is just borrowed time. You can control everything around you and still be completely at the mercy of your own fear. Seneca understood that the only real power a man has is over his own response, not over emperors, not over circumstances, not over time, just that. And it turned out to be enough. You are not facing an emperor's death order tonight, but you are facing something. Everyone is. A relationship that is ending, a career that is shifting, a version of yourself you are being forced to leave behind. Something is pressing on you right now that you have been avoiding looking at directly. Seneca's life is not a history lesson. It is a question aimed directly at you. Are you preparing for the hard things before they arrive? Or are you waiting until the messenger is already at the door? The Stoics were not obsessed with death because they were dark. They were obsessed with it because they understood something most people spend their entire lives running from. Everything ends, and the only question is whether you face that truth now, voluntarily, with time to prepare, or whether it faces you later on its own terms when you have no room left to move. Seneca chose the first option, every day. for decades. And when the night came that it mattered most, he was the calmest person in the room. That is not a personality type. That is a practice, and it is available to anyone willing to do the work before the moment demands it. If this is the kind of content you have been looking for, you are in the right place. Subscribe, because every video on this channel is built on the same idea: the hard truths that make you harder to break.